Hey everybody, my name is Game and welcome back to Zombie Exodus Safe Haven. My crew's been through a lot. We've escaped recently from the city. We've dealt with a lot of stuff on the highway. The undead are walking the earth right now, and our world is coming to a cataclysmic end. It doesn't look good for humanity right now. Just my small crew of misfits and mix and match folks from all over the county have come together. We're surviving, we're sticking together, and we're doing the best we can. But it isn't easy. We've got a lot of personalities, we've got a lot of tension, and a lot of chiefs and very few people that listen. But what we make up for and all that strife is that we know how to come together as a team. Hope you stick with me. And thank you for coming back to Zombie Exodus Safe Haven. Let's begin.
With dinner finished, Riley brings a tray of marshmallows, chocolate, and graham crackers to the fire. Hey everyone, time for s'mores. Yes, chocolate, Madison yells.
All right, chocolate. I love s'mores. My mom and daddy used to make those all the time.
The group gathers around the fire again, and sticks with marshmallows are passed around for roasting. For the first time since the battle against the Horde, you see relief and a bit of happiness on the faces of the survivors. People are talking, laughing, and enjoying the taste of the sweet treats. 2 full bags of marshmallows, 10 bars of chocolate, and an unopened box of graham crackers are all eaten. It might be the last time for such a dessert for a while to come, but from the looks around camp, it was worth it. Next, button. Also, so much has happened since you left your home yesterday. It's hard to think about what to do now. Most of the survivors are working on setting up places to sleep for the night, or have already started napping. There's no telling how long your group will be at the clearing, so you might want to get a jump on setting up your own place to sleep. Hey, Game, Madison says from behind. So much, show stats. So much, hey, Game, Madison says from behind. You turn and see her carrying a small knapsack over one shoulder and a rifle over the other. A few of us are heading to a lake nearby. Rachel said it's fresh water, so I want to go swimming. Brody found a fishing pole, so he's all excited to fish. It'll be so nice to just sit and relax for a while. I know we should be building our camp and stuff, but I need to get away for just a short while. Life has been go for a few days now. If I don't take a break, I'll go crazy. Anyway, if you want to come with us, grab whatever you might need and meet us outside camp. Also at the side of the clearing, Nathan and Kelly prepare to leave camp to scout west of the hilltop. Benji kneels by Rachel's tent, shoving gear into a backpack for the trip. You overheard them telling Rachel that they were heading out after the group meal. As you watch Brody and Madison, along with Tommy and Billy, make final preparations before heading to the lake, you see Woody and Jamie walking towards the hillside path to the highway. Jamie mentioned wanting to work on fixing the supply truck. Rachel follows close behind. Since there are only a few hours left before dark, you go to the lake with Billy, Tommy, and the twins. Radio button, checked. 1 of 3. Go to the caravan with Jamie, Rachel, and Woody. Radio button, unchecked. 2 of 3. Stay at the camp with everyone else. Radio button, unchecked. 3 of 3. Next, button.
I should probably go to the lake and take advantage of a little time with some of these folks. This might be the last time we have a moment to rest.
Go to the caravan with Jamie. Go to the caravan with Jamie, Rachel, and Woody. Radio button, unchecked. 2 of 3. Checked. Go to the lake with Billy, Tommy, and the twins. Radio button, unchecked. 1 of 3. Checked. Since there are only go to the lake with Billy, Tommy, and the twins. Radio button, checked. 1 of, next, button. Now that your group has combined its inventory, you have access to more gear and clothing options. Rachel even offered some of her special weapons to members of the group she feels can use them effectively. As you prepare to leave camp, you consider your gear. Primary weapon. Sledgehammer.
I got Thumper.
Secondary weapon. Baseball bat.
And I got Bambi.
I reconsider my primary and secondary weapons. I make no changes to my weapons. Radio button, unchecked. 2 of 2. I reconsider my primary and secondary weapons. Radio button, checked. 1 of 2. I make no changes to my weapons. Radio button, unchecked. 2 of... Checked. Next, button. Next. Next, button. You make no changes to your primary or secondary weapons. You currently wear hiking clothes. I reconsider my clothing. Radio button, checked. 1 of 2. I make no changes to my clothes. Next, button. Next, button. I make no changes to my clothing. Radio button, unchecked. 2 of 2.
I should look through some of the new combined inventory. Might be something there I can use. Since I'm mostly melee, having something with a little bit more armor might be better. Maybe I should look through what we got.
You make no changes to your... You currently wear hiking clothes. I reconsider my clothing. Radio button, checked. I make no changes to my... I reconsider my clothing. Radio button, checked. 1 of 2. I make no changes to my clothing. Radio button, unchecked. Next, button. You find a secluded area behind a tree and change into all black covert clothing. Stealth +10. Radio button, checked. 1 of 6. Hiking clothes. Survival +5. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 6. Street clothes. Athletics +5. Radio button. Unchecked. 3 of 6. Studded and spiked leather outfit. Dog collar. Leather gloves. Intimidation +10. Radio button. Unchecked. 4 of 6. Tailored suit. Persuasion +10. Studded and spiked leather outfit. Dog collar. Leather gloves. Intimidation +10. Tailored suit. Persuasion +10. Radio button. Unchecked. 5 of 6. Tailored dress. Persuasion +10. Radio button. Unchecked. Next. Button. You find a secluded area behind it. All black covert clothing. Stealth +10. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 6.
Stealth isn't really my specialty.
Hiking clothes. Survival +5. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 6.
I feel like I'm just fine in my hiking clothes.
All black covert clothing. Stealth +10. Radio button. Checked. 1 of hiking clothes. Survival +5. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 6. Checked. Street studded tailored suit. Tailored dress. Persuasion next. Button. No, you dress in a thick shirt, rugged jeans, and a sturdy pair of hiking boots. In the late afternoon, your group takes the narrow, natural path through the woods towards the lake. Within minutes of the trek start, you hear the buzz of insects and spot the quick movement of a fox from a burrow. The fresh smell of pine makes the air crisp and new, waking you up and reminding you that parts of the world have been left untouched by the outbreak.
So beautiful out here. Seeing our world fall apart, yet they still got animals out here. Foxes, insects, and beautiful sounds and air. Thank you very much to MyNoise BBA for the use of music and sound effect generators. Appreciate you. It's hard to believe our world has fallen apart as much as it has, but still we hold on, still showing love to each other.
Knowing how precarious your situation is, you find yourself keeping an eye out for any edible plants you can return to camp with. Immediately, you notice cattails growing near the edge of the lake. While far from the most appetizing of plants, you know cattail roots can be a great source of starch. However, you also know there are some lookalike plants which are poisonous. You move closer and pull a small one from the mud. To your delight, there's no odor other than mud, so you know it's safe. Then you notice a fine golden dust on your hand from the upper portion of the cattail. You recall this is the time of year when some cattails produce pollen. You smile, as you know that if enough cattail pollen is collected, it can be used in place of flour to make biscuits or other baked goods.
Oh, I haven't seen this in a long time. Cattail. Use this to make some biscuits, maybe some bread. We gotta start thinking about starting all over. We gotta start building our inventory of food and things we're gonna need to survive.
Additionally, you notice some footprints by the edge of the lake. You see what looks like the outline of a heart shape made of 2 pointed toes. You recognize these as the hoof prints a deer would make, probably when it came down to drink water from the lake.
Looks like there's some deer out here. If maybe we can get a couple and bag a few, that'll be enough meat to last us for quite some time. We gotta start thinking about the winter and our situation. We got a lot of mouths to feed.
Finally, further away from the lake, you spot green bushes with small white flowers, which you recognize to be yarrow. Some people believe that yarrow can be made into a medicinal tea which fights colds and improves circulation. While the health benefits of yarrow could be debated, you know that it can also be used to make an insect repellent, especially useful this close to the lake and possible mosquitoes.
Yeah, yarrow tea. My grandmother used to make it, so did my mama. That's really good stuff. It doesn't taste particularly good, but it's really good. And if you have a cold, and if you're not feeling too good, it's great for those hot nights when you're not feeling too great. Yeah, we'll definitely have to collect a lot of that.
I can't wait to rinse off in the lake. I can't stand how badly my clothes smell, Madison says, pulling out the end of her shirt and wrinkling her nose.
Oh, my God, I smell so bad. Game, can you smell me from over there? No, you're fine, Madison. I can barely smell anything. I'm nose blind right now because I stink real bad. Yeah, you can't stink as bad as me. I mean, I really stink.
Me too, Bailey says. I played softball in college, and I smell like I just finished a doubleheader.
I smell real bad too.
I was a cheerleader, so I hear you, girl. Nothing worse than afternoon practices with a bunch of overly competitive divas. I imagine it's the same smell as backstage at a strip club, minus the hair extensions. Madison gives a satisfied smile to the group. I haven't swum in a lake for years. I hope the water isn't freezing, Brody says. Tommy offers a small smile, a little more amusement than he's shown over the last day. Don't worry, I can think of a way or two to warm you up. Brody's cheeks redden slightly at the comment. Madison's mouth quirks slightly. Oh, that would be so kawaii. Bailey looks at her, confused. Kawaii? What's that? It's a Japanese word meaning cute. I'm probably butchering it, but so do 99% of Americans who use it. Madison explains. Brody blushes as a result, further growing Madison's smile. Tommy grumbles. Cute. You can't be much of a threat if you're seen as cute. Oh my gosh, Brody, remember when you were 10 and the heat pump in the jacuzzi busted and you jumped in the freezing cold water? I swear the water actually turned yellow from all the pee. It was like Jaws bit someone's bladder underwater. Madison laughs so hard, she holds her stomach and cries while trying to catch her breath. Brody glares at her. I just drank a 16-ounce Mountain Dew. What did you expect? Next, button. Brody, the path widens as the forest thins, opening to a low field of lush grass drenched in sunshine. Butterflies flutter through the air at your presence, lifting through the haze and gliding to the trees. From the right, the rustle of leaves and branches calls you to spot the denizens of the forest, a duo of white-tailed deer traipsing back from the lake on your left. Madison stops, whispers, and points. Look, over there. In a much louder voice, Brody says, "What?" 30 yards away, a full-size deer jumps into the brush, rushing away from the sudden noise. Madison turns on her brother, fury on her face, and punches him in the shoulder. When someone whispers something, you don't go and yell it. Do you understand? She growls. Madison, Brody tries to explain. Oh, whatever, she says and trudges back down the path. Bailey casts a sympathetic glance at Brody. I always wanted a sister, but if she was anything like yours, well, I think I dodged a bullet there. Brody shakes his head. She can be temperamental at times, but she's got a good heart. Tommy gives a reassuring smile. Hey, I know my mom loved me, but I think sometimes she was glad there was only one of me. Brody lingers behind until he catches your attention. He gestures you to the side, and you can tell that something is really bothering him. What's the matter, Brody? You ask. I think he slowly explains. I think there's something wrong with Maddie. If you're talking about that outburst, you say. Brody shakes his head, interrupting. That might be a part of it, but not the cause. No, she's been acting as if this were some kind of vacation. Vacation, you ask. Brody nods. Almost everyone else has reacted some way with what's gone down. Some cried, others got angry, while some just went silent. Madison, she's too cheerful, too lively. Is there a way I can help? You ask. Talk to her, Brody says. Maybe she'll open up to you. Just don't tell her I said anything. From down in the glen, Madison turns and shouts in a loud, stern voice. Hurry up, slowpokes.
Hurry up, y'all, let's go.
Brody gives a final look your way, then hurries in Madison's direction. You follow suit. Next, button. You soon find yourself in a rather green-looking clearing. Verdant grass and flowers provide a soft place to sit, while the water of the lake laps against the shore under a gentle breeze. Everyone tosses their backpacks to the ground. Madison looks toward the water greedily, while Brody is busily looking around within his backpack. Bailey appears to have found a bush of berries, but she's hesitant about doing anything with it. Tommy takes a seat, observing everyone carefully. You notice that he has his sidearm out and stands guard. Does anyone know the name of this lake? Madison asks. I've never been here, but I think I'd like to return someday.
Anybody know the name of this lake? It's so beautiful. Gosh.
Brody shrugs. Your guess is as good as mine.
I don't know. Something. Some lake.
Don't ask me, Bailey says. I'm from out upstate and mostly a city girl.
I don't know. I'm not from here.
I don't have a clue, Tommy replies. You actually remember an old news story about this area, one that had been repeated on television for a while. One perspective showed a nearby junkyard, where the reporter had talked to the owner several years ago. Vestiges of memory tug at your awareness, and then you remember the name. This is Sapphire Lake, so named by the first American explorers who discovered it. They were struck by the deep blue color of the water.
It's called Sapphire Lake, y'all. Because of the color.
Sapphire Lake? Why does that name seem familiar? Madison muses to herself.
Sapphire Lake. Why does that sound familiar to me? I've heard that before.
Leatherjack, Brody says quietly, his face getting a little more serious. You don't mean, Madison starts to say, then stops when she sees Brody's affirming nod. Yeah, Leatherjack, a serial killer from about 50 years ago. He would take hunters, hikers, whoever crossed his path, and skin them alive, you say, feeling uneasy as you describe the killer, made their skin into jackets. If it was leather, wouldn't he stop at some point? Madison asks. You know, once he had a full jacket. Not really, you reply. It wasn't like he cured it properly. If nothing else, he kept hunting to replace the newest patches in his jacket.
Yeah, there's a killer I used to kill out here. Used to turn hunters and other folks out here. Used to skin them and turn them into jackets. Kept doing it. Serial killer. Oh my God, really? I mean, are those still out here? Like just killing people for no reason? Yep. Just because our world's falling apart doesn't mean people's problems have stopped. There are still psychopaths and other people out there in the world, and we still have to keep our ears and eyes open and be careful. We just can't let anybody join us. We never know who's going to be what. But then again, we need the help too. So we're in a tough situation. But let's keep ourselves aware and not get too complacent. Yeah, I think I feel a little less excited now that you told me this story, Game. Sorry, Madison. That's okay. I can understand that. I mean, you're a leader, you're cautious, and you know, you have a lot of knowledge. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned anything at all. I mean, we're here to have fun, right? Not worry about the past. That person's probably long dead.
Bailey gulps. Well, just another thing to give me nightmares.
Well, I guess I have another thing to not sleep about.
I promise I won't let anything like that happen, Tommy says.
I won't let anything happen to you. Don't worry.
No one needs to worry about him. Police caught him decades ago, you say. Although some people say they feel his presence to this day.
They caught him a long time ago. I don't want to pull y'all's leg. Yeah, he's probably in one of those prisons, and with all the turning, he probably died, and he's probably one of those undead by now. I doubt he's going to come all the way back here, but people have said before they feel like he's still out here a little bit, like his evil presence, like a part of him still always stayed here from all the people he killed, all the innocent people he took lives from. Feels like that evil presence still lurks around here in the dark, in the night.
Next button. Unchecked. The group splits up, with Madison walking closer to the shoreline, while Brody walks along the edge of the lake away from everyone. Tommy takes a seat on a rock and keeps watch. Bailey lays down a blanket near a patch of flowers and takes out a jigsaw puzzle, dumping the pieces in front of her. Gather edible plants. Requires survival 40+ or gardening. Radio button. Check. 1 of 11. Go fishing. No vegetarians. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 11. Go swimming, or skinny dipping. Radio button. Unchecked. 3 of 11. Hunt for deer. Requires ranged weapon. No vegetarians. Dimmed. Radio button. Unchecked. 4 of 11. Lay down some traps. Requires crafted animal traps. Dimmed. Radio button. Unchecked. 5 of... Take water from the lake. Radio button. Unchecked. 6 of 11. Talk to Bailey. Radio button. Unchecked. Take what? Lay down some... Hunt for deer. Go swimming, or skinny dipping. Go fishing. Gather edible plants. Requires survival 40+ or gardening. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 11. Go... Hunt for deer. Requires ranged weapon. No vegetarians. Dimmed. Radio button. Unchecked. 4
I guess
of 11.
I better get some edible vegetation out here. We need all the food supplies we can get our hands on.
Lay down some... Talk to Bailey. Talk to Brody. Talk to Madison. Talk to Tommy. Return to the hilltop. Next button. Here, though your group of survivors has some food, you know that it's to your advantage to supplement that as best as you can. Madison's nose wrinkles as she looks at the cattails. Are you sure this is edible?
We can eat this? It looks gross.
You nod. Yeah. Some people think it tastes like cucumber.
It tastes good. Like a salad.
And you? Brody, yeah, I think it tastes more like zucchini. You reply. Didn't your uncle teach you about edible plants? You said he's a survivalist. Maddie focused more on shooting things, and I like tracking and hiking, Brody says. You go back to the cattails and start removing them from the ground. You make sure to rinse the mud off the roots, since it would be foolish to waste water back at the campsite when you have a whole lake available. Cutting off the edible parts of the roots, you stack them in perfect columns in your backpack. Your hand brushes up against another hand, and you see that Bailey is by your side. She gives a slight smile. I don't mind giving a hand, literally.
I can help you, Game.
Here, let me help you with that, Tommy says. He starts several feet away, pulling out cattails and mimicking your actions. The knife he pulls out glints in the sunlight.
I can help too. I see what you're doing. I'll just do the same thing. Shake off the mud, right? Yeah, take off all the mud. Use the lake to rinse it off. We don't want to waste water.
With a bundle of cattails pulled, you open a small plastic baggie and start shaking the head of each one as if it were a rattle, trying to collect as much pollen as possible. Though the process only collects a small amount, you eventually get enough to fill several bags. It's possible that the deer which made the tracks might come back, but you aren't counting on it. Instead, you decide to follow the tracks away from the lake up the natural path. Soon, the prints veer through a wooded area, and you come upon a patch of wild onion. You catch a faint whiff of their odor, but not so strong that your eyes water. You find you can pull them from the ground, and though the bulbs aren't as big as domesticated onions, they'll still be a good supplement to your diet.
Intoxicating onion. Boy, I remember my first apartment. My girlfriend came over. I had forgot about these onions I left in my cabinet, and I thought it smelled like bug spray, but it was some onions she got me for groceries back when we had civilization. Man, those things smelled so bad. I thought I was going to call the management and tell them that somebody was spraying bug spray in the apartment above me or behind me. Turned out I had a bunch of onions festering inside of my cabinet. Smelled up the whole apartment, something worse. Really? Yeah, that sounds crazy. Oh my God, Game. Well, never been much of a cook, but, my mom and dad taught me a few things. But we can definitely use these onions. Could go a long way to expanding and extending our food supply.
Finally, you begin to harvest the yarrow plants you saw earlier. You separate the stalk from the flowers and leaves before packing it away. Looking at the lake, you're glad you found this plant since you can make an insect repellent. Very useful with the mosquitoes you notice buzzing around.
Grab those flowers, the ones that look like this. Just show me before you save them. These are great insect repellents and they make good tea. So that's gonna kill two birds with one stone. Oh God, I hate that expression. Oh, Bailey, calm down. What does it matter? He's not talking about real birds. I know, but I've always hated that. Sorry, Bailey. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Yeah, it's just an old colloquialism. It's hard to get rid of them, I guess, because I'm just kind of old. And well, Game, you're not that old. I just mean you shouldn't put yourself down. Ageism is real. Like, don't treat yourself that way. There's nothing wrong with saying killing two birds with one stone. Everybody knows it's just a figure of speech. Yeah, I still hate it.
Go fishing. No vegetarians. Radio button. Check. 1 of 10. Finally, you begin to go fishing. No vegetarians. Radio button. Check. 1 of 10. Go swimming or skinny dipping. Radio button. Unchecked. 2. Hunt for deer. Requires ranged weapon. No vegetarians. Dimmed. Radio button. Lay down some traps. Requires crafted animal traps. Dimmed. Radio button. Take water from the lake. Radio button. Unchecked. 5 of 10. Check.
I guess I better get some water here. We can boil it up and get rid of the impurities and use it for our supplies.
Talk to Bailey. Radio button. Talk to Matt. Talk to Tommy. Return to the hilltop. Next. Button. You walk to the edge of the lake and kneel next to the coast. Water flows from right to left in a slow current, and as you stare into the light blue liquid, small fish and bits of grass swim a few feet down. Dead insects or bits of dry dirt lie on the surface, reinforcing the need to clean this water before drinking. You take a few empty bottles and along with your canteen fill them up with the slightly murky liquid. You'll need to boil the water once you get back to camp, but having this lake so close to the hilltop means one less resource to worry about. Go fishing. No vegetarians. Radio button. Check. 1 of 9. Go swimming or skinny dipping. Radio. Hunt for deer. Lay down some traps. Talk to Bailey. Radio button. Talk to Madison. Radio button. Unchecked. 7 of 9.
Well, what y'all think? Should we try some fishing? Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'd like to. Let's go.
Talk to Tommy. Return to the hill. Next. Button. You look at the lake and grin at the sight of the tranquil blue waters. You glance at your fishing pole, glad that you'll finally get to use it. Brody steps up next to you with the fishing pole he scavenged from the highway pile-up. Looks like it's you and me. Let's see who catches more fish.
I bet I can get more than you, Game. You probably will, Bailey. I'm not a great fisherman, but I've had this old thing for a long time. It's been a long time. Last time I went with my ex-father-in-law. You were married? Yeah, I know it sounds hard to believe, but yeah, I was. Yeah, that's a long time ago. I wasn't the right person for her, and I'm sure she felt the same way. Well, you know, I guess it's just so weird, Game, thinking about the past. Like, we're so different now. Look what we're doing now. Now it seems like a different world. There's no courts, there's no marriages, there's no records. It's just all of us. It's like we're all married to each other in some way. Yeah, you're right about that, Bailey. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, let's see who gets the most fish. Sounds like a plan. Let's go.
You lift up the rod, making sure the line isn't tangled up, as well as looking at how many hooks you have. You're pleased to see that in the event a fish takes your hook, you have enough to continue fishing.
Oh, they got enough hooks down here. I wish I had a little bit of bait. I wonder if I could dig for some pal worms or something.
Tommy shakes his head. You must have the patience of a saint. Well, I can't be much help here, so I'm going to go sit and keep watch. He saunters off, only glancing over his shoulder at you once.
I'll take watch while y'all do that. I never have the patience for fishing. Thanks, Tommy. Let me know if anything looks suspicious or anything. Yeah, I got everybody. I got you back. Hey, thanks, Tommy. You're welcome, Bailey.
Madison wrinkles her nose. I can't believe you're spending your time fishing. Ugh, how anyone could stand to touch them is beyond me. Just thinking about it makes my skin crawl. She quickly moves away, leaving you to the water and ensuing silence.
Ugh, Game, that's so gross. Well, you know what, Madison? We need as much food as we can get our hands on, so I know it's gross, but we gotta think about the future.
I admit, I've only ever done this with Uncle Nate before. He always dug out the hooks once we caught the fish, Brody says. Although I know how to do it, he got frustrated by how long it took me and would do it himself. I barely got to touch the fish. You can keep your hands clean if you want, you say.
Yeah, if you have trouble taking out the hooks, I got you back. Oh, good. Because, man, I did not know how to take the hooks out of their mouth. It's really hard.
Nah, I want the practice. I plan to catch so many. I'll have tons of chances. He smiles with confidence.
But I really should try to do it myself. I gotta learn, right? Yep, we all gotta learn now. We're gonna be out here for a long time. This is a good source of food for us.
Bailey smooths out the grass near you, sits down, and says, "This seems like it would be boring." And I hope that isn't a problem, you say.
This looks boring. Well, I'm sorry, Bailey, but, you know, this is a good time to try this. We're right near the source of food we need. You should try to learn how to fish. It's good for you.
No, these days, exciting means life-threatening, she says. I'd prefer to keep that to a minimum.
At least we're not dying or trying to get killed or eaten.
Time passes as you cast your line into the water, catching enough fish that you should be able to provide food for those so inclined tonight. For an hour, you sit on the bank of the lake, watching your line sway to and fro in the water, and you're amazed at how many fish bite your bait this late in the day. While you're here at the lake, you proceed to clean them, tossing the guts into the water. Brody doesn't catch as many fish as you, but you enjoy his company, joking around and laughing like you're two buddies on a field trip, not two survivors fishing for food to provide for your group. Bailey is much more quiet than you and Brody, but she smiles and giggles at your jokes and makes short banter. If you happen to stay at the hilltop, you plan to come back here to relax, fish, and spend time with your companions. Go swimming, or skinny dipping. Radio button. Check. 1 of 8. Hunt for deer. Requires ranged weapon. No vegetarians. Dimmed. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 8. Lay down some traps. Requires crafted animal traps. Dimmed. Radio button. Unchecked. 3. Talk to Bailey. Radio button. Unchecked. 4 of 8. Checked. Talk to Brody. Talk to Madison. Talk to Tommy. Return to the hilltop. Next. Button. They look. You take a few steps and stand next to Bailey. She turns her head slightly, then quickly lowers it again. When I was talking about Leatherjack earlier, I didn't mean to upset you like that. You offer.
Hey, Bailey. Sorry I mentioned Leatherjack. It was really inappropriate of me. I don't want to scare anybody. I was just feeling a little cocky about that since I knew about it. Are you okay?
It's all right, she says with a half mumble, and then straightens her back. Given how today has gone, the last thing I needed was to get scared over some story.
Yeah, I'm okay. I've just been a scary cat. Sorry about that, too.
She glances over at the other people present. But I appreciate you coming to talk to me. However, I'm sure you have more important people to talk to. You shake your head and say, we're going to be companions for a while. I think this is a great time to get to know a little more about each other. If you have any questions, ask me. Bailey starts to say something but shakes her head, mumbling, no, that would be a waste of your time. Let me be the judge of that, you say, trying to keep a friendly tone to draw her out of herself. Do you know anything about these berries? Are they edible? Bailey asks.
Hey, Game, are these berries something we can eat? Maybe. Let me see.
She points at a nearby bush filled with gorgeous red berries. However, the bush isn't defenseless, for you notice several thorns protruding along the edge of the branches.
Well, it could be blackberries, but they're red, so I'm almost thinking they may not be edible. Let me take a peek.
They look so good, but I don't dare touch them. I mean, what if they give me the runs? Or worse, Bailey says, concern rising in her voice. Relax, you say. These are gooseberries. They're a type of currant. You're in luck. The red ones are really good. The green ones tend to be more sour. You pluck one off the branch and toss it into your mouth, tasting a vibrant sweetness.
These are so good. Yeah, these are gooseberries. You're good. Yeah, I haven't seen one of these in a long time. My brother and me, we used to eat these things like crazy too. We did get the runs. Oh man, the green ones are kind of sour, so you may not want to pick many of those. Let them ripen.
Okay, Bailey says and hesitantly plucks a couple off, then pops them into her mouth. Her eyes widen. Yum, they really are good.
Oh my god,
she offers
these
you a
are
wide smile
so
and says,
good.
I've never heard of a gooseberry before.
I never heard of a gooseberry. Like, this is new for me. I mean, I've had raspberries and blueberries and never had this before. Yeah, these are something out here in the country that, are pretty good. Collect a lot. We could use them. Maybe we can use it for dessert tonight for dinner. Go really good with the fish.
Most people haven't. Seeing her good mood, you add, can I ask you a couple of questions? You don't have to if you don't want to. Bailey plucks a few more berries from the bush and greedily eats them. Sure, go ahead, she says. Where are you from? Radio button, check. 1 of, what do you think about joining up with us? Radio button, unchecked. 2 of, what do you think about me? Radio button, unchecked. Is there anything special I can do for you? Radio button, unchecked. 4 of 5, wrap up the conversation. Radio button, unchecked. 5 of 5. Is there, what do you think about me? What do you think about joining up with us? What do you think about joining up with us? Radio button, unchecked. 2 of 5, where are you from? Where are you from? Radio button, checked. 1 of 5.
Where are you from, Bailey?
Where are you what is there, wrap up the next, button. I don't really remember meeting you before, you say. Are you local? Bailey shakes her head. No, I come from out of state. Originally, I'm from California but came here for college. I wanted to get away from, well, it isn't important.
I'm from California. You wouldn't have ever met me. I just came here for college. Wanted to get out of where I was from. See something different. Tired of the same old people.
Sensing she wishes to change the subject, you ask, what did you study?
What are you studying?
Bailey gets a distant look on her face as she says, I was studying equine science. Colorado has some of the best schools for that. Nothing wrong with the love of horses, you say.
I love horses too. Nothing wrong with studying about horses.
What do you think about joining up with us? Radio button. Checked. 1 of 4. What? Is there anything special I can do? Wrap up the conversation. Radio. Next. Button. Next. Next. Button. I know fate kind of threw us together. You offer. Show stats. I know fate kind of threw us together. You offer conversationally. But I hope you don't mind joining up with us. Bailey sighs, carefully picking her words. Trust takes a long time to build, but most of you seem alright.
I'm not big on trusting people, but you guys are pretty good.
Most, but not all, you ask. Bailey blushes. I get a rather skeevy feeling with Riley. He seems too prone to violence. However, Jamie has been nice. Plus, Rachel seems to trust you as leader, she says. And though I haven't known her long, I've come to trust her instincts on this. What do you think about me? Radio button. Checked. 1 of 3. Is there anything special I can do for you? Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 3. Wrap up the conversation. Radio button. Unchecked. 3 of 3. Checked. Next. Button. Next. You smile once more and say, thanks again for your time. Bailey's cheeks redden, but she says, thanks. It was nice to talk to someone in such a beautiful place for a change.
It was nice talking to you, Bailey. Thanks, Game. You too. Especially out here. It's so gorgeous.
Flirt before I leave, indicating interest in her. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 2. Say a friendly goodbye. Radio button. Unchecked. Next. Button. Say a friendly goodbye. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 2. Checked. Next. Button. Unchecked. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk like this. Show stats. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk like this more in the future, you say. Go swimming, or skinny dipping. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 7. Hunt for deer. Go swimming, or skinny dipping. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 7. Hunt for deer. Lay down. Talk to Brody. Talk to Madison. Talk to Tommy. Return to the hilltop. Next. Button. Next. You gaze upon the lake, and for a moment, the events of the day slip away at the inviting waters. Meanwhile, you see Brody taking off his shirt, while Madison strips down to a bra. Bailey looks at Madison and Brody, then she starts to remove her blouse, though a bit more hesitantly than the other two. At first, Tommy seems like he's going to stay on shore, but from his glance, he seems quite taken with Brody's muscular form. So Tommy lays down his gun and shucks off his jeans. While everyone else is undressing, you strip down to my underwear. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 2. Take off all of my clothes. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of. Next. Button. You decide to maintain a slight modicum of decorum and simply undress to your underwear. The breeze chills your skin, but you quickly adjust to the coolness of the air. Last one in is a rotten egg. You hear Madison yell, and the small group suddenly darts for the water. Madison manages to beat her brother, but Brody takes a respectable second. Tommy is close on his heels, while Bailey is just a few steps behind. You head into the water, finding it warmer than expected. Soon, the sound of splashing water and pleasant cries fills the air. As you rush into the lake, you tense up from the shock of the cool temperature, but as you move around, your body warms to its surroundings. When a cool breeze blows by, you shiver, but overall the lake is soothing and refreshing. Brody takes a huge gulp of air and dives deep below the water surface. A few long seconds pass, and when he rises, he holds a rather interesting rock in his hands. He turns it over and over, studying it as he treads water in a deep area. A few yards closer to shore, Madison is lazily floating on her back. Tommy seems a bit more hesitant, standing in the shallow end even closer to shore. He keeps looking back to his pistol on a nearby rock. Bailey doesn't quite make it into the water. Instead, she stands on the shore and shakes her head, arms wrapped around her body. You spend a while in the lake, swimming and enjoying the company of your companions in the clear, cool water as the sun sets over the tree line to the west. Much sooner than you want, your time at the lake comes to an end. So, you gather up your backpacks and give one last regretful look at the calm waters of Sapphire Lake. You don't know when or if you will be able to come back, but it made for a good break from the campsite. From the far shore, you catch snatches of a low sound. Shaking your head, the sound becomes more distinct, that of a growl. The sound is one you're familiar with, having experienced it when you fought the zombies at the hilltop. There, on the other side of the lake, you catch the lumbering forms of 2 zombies. Though it's hard to make out the details, you could swear they're tasting the air. We should get back, you say, before the others start to worry about us. Next. Button.
Alright, everybody. We might as well get back.
We should get... Next. Button. We should get back, you say, before the others start to worry about us. Next. Next. Button. You and your companions take the natural path south to the hilltop. The other survivors are all involved in setting up sleeping arrangements or performing other chores. No one notices your return. Now that you're back in camp, you empty out all the lake water you collected and set it in a pot for boiling. It will be drinkable in a short while. Next. Button. Check. You check the time, 7 p.m. From the hillside, you see Jamie, Rachel, and Woody returning to camp. They look tired and dejected. When you glance over to Jamie, he looks back to you and shakes his head, a clear sign he made no progress fixing the supply truck. Ask Gina to reinforce the camp. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 23. Ask Woody to reinforce the camp. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 23. Change clothes. Radio button. Unchecked. 3 of 23. Check inventory. Radio button. Unchecked. 4 of 23.
I might as well check our inventory.
Craft an item. Radio button. Unchecked. 5 of 23.
Oh, Oh, I could craft something. That could be good too.
Have a snack. Radio button. Unchecked. 6 of 23.
I am feeling a little bit hungry after that swim.
Place a trap to catch animals for food. Dimmed. Radio button. Provide medical care to a survivor. Requires medicine 45 plus. Dimmed. Radio. Put up a tent. Requires 2-person camping tent. Dimmed. Radio button. Set up reinforcements to protect the camp. Requires crafting 50 plus or survival 45 plus. Radio button. Unchecked. 10 of 23.
We could put up some defenses. That could be valuable, since I saw those 2 undead.
Scout the area. Radio button. Unchecked. 11 of 23.
Scout in the area could also be very valuable. Let's set up defenses, then we'll scout around.
Take my mind off the outbreak with some distance running. Radio button. Unchecked. 12 of 23. Take my mind off the outbreak by playing video games. Radio button. Unchecked. 13 of 20. Take some painkillers. Requires health less than 90 and painkillers. Dimmed. Talk to church. Requires church in camp. Radio button. Unchecked. 15 of 20. Talk to Dante. Requires Dante in camp. Radio button. Unchecked. 16. Talk to Driver and Rosie. Radio button. Unchecked. 17 of 23. Talk to Gina. Requires Gina in camp. Radio button. Unchecked. 18 of 23. Talk to Jillian. Radio button. Unchecked. Not. Talk to Lopez. Requires Lopez in camp. Radio button. Unchecked. 20 of 23. Talk to Nora. Radio button. Unchecked. Talk to Parker. Radio button. Unchecked. 22 of 23. Talk to Riley. Requires Riley in camp. Radio button. Unchecked. Next. Button.
I think the first thing we ought to do is set up some perimeters.
Take some painkillers. Take. Scout the area. Scout the area. Radio. Set up reinforcements to protect the camp. Requires crafting 50 plus or survival 45 plus. Set up reinforcements to protect the camp. Requires crafting 50 plus or survival 45 plus. Radio button. Unchecked. 10 of 20. Checked. Talk to Nora. Radio. Talk. Next. Button. Next. Build a sky nest to watch for intruders. Requires crafting 60 plus or survival 50 plus. 8 metal parts and 20 wooden parts. Build a smokeless fire pit. Requires crafting 60 plus or survival 50 plus. Radio button. Checked. 2 of 7. Build a sky nest to watch for intruders. Requires crafting 60 plus or survival 50 plus. 8 metal parts and 20 wooden parts. Dimmed. Radio button. Unchecked. Build a smokeless fire pit. Requires crafting 60 plus or survival 50 plus. Radio button. Checked. 2. Dig a trench around camp. Requires crafting 50 plus or survival 45 plus. Radio button. Unchecked. 3 of 7. Secure the perimeter with a spike barricade. Requires crafting 60 plus or survival 50 plus. 3 metal parts and 8 wooden parts. Radio button. Unchecked. 4 of 7. Set up a perimeter alarm system. Requires crafting 50 plus or survival 45 plus. And either 2 rolls of duct tape, a rope, or sewing kit. Radio button. Unchecked. 5 of 7. Surround the campsite with barbed wire. Requires crafting 60 plus and a barbed wire or 2 metal parts and 2 wooden parts. Dimmed. Radio button. Unchecked. 6. On second thought, I don't set up any other reinforcements at this time. Radio. Surround. Set up. Secure the Dig a trench around camp. Build a smokeless fire pit. Dig a trench around camp. Requires crafting 50 plus or survival 45. Secure the perimeter with a spike barricade. Requires crafting 60 plus or survival 50 plus. 3 metal parts and 8 wooden parts. Radio button. Unchecked. 4 of 7. Check. Surround the campsite on second thought. Next. Button. Next. A spike barricade will deter animals from running into camp and will provide an obstacle for the infected and the living alike. From your group's inventory, you take the longest wooden beams and sharpen each end to points. Once you have a bundle, you set them out around the outer edge of camp by driving one end into the ground and the other pointed outwards. You vary angles to point the sticks high, low, and center for maximum coverage. With the barricade erected, your group appears more relaxed at the added safety feature of camp. This reinforcement took 1 hour. Next. Button. Next. Button. Rate. You check the time. 8 o'clock p.m. Home. Back button. You check the time. 8 o'clock p.m. You spy Rachel standing near the edge of the hilltop, looking through a pair of binoculars off to the west. You look off that way yourself, but other than a patchwork of farmland, nothing really stands out. Using your own binoculars, you scan out in the direction she's pointed and see several buildings far off. I was just scanning the horizon, making sure there wasn't another horde of infected coming our way when I saw a farm, Rachel says.
Game, take a look at this. There's some buildings over there. Maybe good scavenging. I was checking to see if there were any hordes running around. There's nothing so far. Yeah, I see it, Rachel. That's good eyes on that. Maybe we should go that way. Let's secure our perimeter, make sure our camp is safe tonight. Maybe we'll set off there soon. It's a great idea.
Not surprising. I mean, we are in the country after all, you reply. Rachel's lip quirks slightly, but she continues. Yeah, but this place looks promising. Given the size of our group, I'd feel better if we had more food. Not to mention, it may be a suitable place for us all to live at least short term. Surrounded by plowed fields filled with young, green vegetables, lies a single-story home with all of its windows boarded up. Off to the side is a tool shed, and a large barn sits just behind it. Although, she continues, from the barricaded windows and parked cars, there might be survivors hunkering down there. So whoever goes down there should be prepared for trouble, you say. Rachel nods in affirmation. That was my thought as well. Mind you, if we meet other survivors, I think we should talk first. But as the days go on, the risk of violence will become greater.
Could be some people there. They may not want to see us. Yeah, we might want to think about our protection detail. We might have to start carrying a little bit more arms. Maybe some of our medium or long range folks, a little overwatch. Maybe folks like me should stay back a little bit because we just have melee weapons mostly. Keep mine in reserve. Yeah, we should have somebody with a gun. You know, we're going to be meeting more and more people who don't want to see us, who are shutting themselves out from humanity. We might just have to kill. You might have to accept that game. I do, Rachel. I do, but only as a last resort if we can help it. Yeah, I feel the same way. But I also don't want to die to somebody out here because they're just insanely, worried about other survivors and paranoid. I've seen this happen before. You have? Yeah. When people get scared, they're prone to doing really stupid things. I don't want to lose anybody here. I just joined this thing and I feel comfortable here. I think we can make it, but we gotta be ready to take the next step if we have to. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely do what it takes to keep us all alive. I'll tell you that right now. I know you will. And that's why I voted for you as leader. I trust you. And I trust you. Thanks, Rachel.
You tell Rachel. You think the group should propose we keep an open mind and talk with other survivors when possible. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 6. Suggest we offer them the safety of the group. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 6. Present a strong front first and then talk turns. Radio button. Unchecked. 3 of 6. Go in guns blazing. I joke. Radio button. Unchecked. Suggest we shoot anything that moves. Go in guns blazing. Present a strong front first and then talk turns. Present a strong front first and then talk turns. Radio button. Checked. 3. Go in. Suggest we shoot anything that present a peaceful facade but have a sniper. Next. Button. You bite your lip. Negotiations always go better if you hold the upper hand. Showing a strong, united front seems the best course of action. Rachel raises her head in agreement, not to mention it might cow people who would otherwise be belligerent. You close your eyes. This is a risky trip. Certainly, but the pros outweigh the cons of going to this farm. All right, give me a few minutes, and I'll be ready to go, Rachel says. Tell Rachel I'm going, and she needs to stay back. Radio button. Check. 1 of 3. Certainly, tell Rachel I'm going, and she needs to stay back. Radio button. Check. 1 of 3. Tell Rachel to go and select someone else to go with her. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 3. Tell her you prefer Jamie should go, so she can guard camp. Radio button. Unchecked. 3 of 3. Next. Button. Tell Rachel to go and select someone else to go with her. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of. Tell Rachel I'm going, and she needs to stay back. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 3. Certainly, but the pros outweigh. Tell Rachel I'm going, and she needs to stay back. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 3.
Well, Rachel found it. Maybe I should let her go look at it. But I also want her to stay safe, and she's got good eyes.
Tell Rachel to go and select someone else to go with her. Radio button. Unchecked. 2 of 3.
But maybe I should go. I am the leader. If anything, having a backup leader left behind here is a good plan.
Tell Rachel I'm going, and she needs to stay back. Radio button. Checked. 1 of 3.
Rachel, you're going to stay here. I'm going to go there first. You sure that's a good idea, game? We don't want to lose our leader. Well, the most important thing here is that we show them who our leader is. We show a united front. We have backup leadership in you. Oh, thank you for considering me for that, but you're our leader. Yeah, but we need a secondary backup plan. Something. If I go down, I need to make sure our people are going to make it. And I feel confident in your leadership abilities. Okay. It's fine with me. Thanks.
Tell Rachel to tell her you prefer. Next. Button. You shake your head. No, you need to stay. If something happens, well, you and Jamie are going to have to take care of everyone. For a moment, you think Rachel is going to offer disagreement, and she simply says, all right. Next. Button. Love on the way. You see Brody is talking with Madison in quiet tones, but you overhear Jack and Mom and Dad. Woody sits on a log with a rather large knife out and whittles something from a block of wood he found. Gina is sitting in a nearby chair, reading a trashy pirate-themed bodice ripper called Love on the Seven Seas. Period. Brody stops talking with Madison with a shake of his head before noticing you. I saw you talking with Rachel, he says. Is there more trouble on the way?
What's up, gang? We got trouble?
You shake your head. Actually, I'm just gathering my things before I head out. We spotted a place that's likely to be good for scavenging.
Yeah, there's a place nearby. I'm going to check it out.
Woody produces another wood shaving or two. So, I take it you volunteered for this?
Game, you taking out another mission by yourself, or what? Yep, Woody.
Brody grins. Wait, I want to tag along. He
Can I
flexes
go?
the muscles in his arm, and from his stance he seems ready for action. Madison's face falls into a frown, and she whispers something too low for you to hear. Brody looks at his sister, a rare moment of resentment on his face. Sorry, Maddie, but I can't sit back while someone else faces danger. Game. Maddie and I will be right back, and we are both coming. At first, Madison purses her lips, and her nose wrinkles in anger. This quickly fades, and she turns to you. Alrighty, I'm going to. Game. Gina lowers her book, turning the corner of the page to mark her place. Woody bristles at this and announces, Dang, you could use a bookmark. Did you say something? Gina asked, her hand resting on her hip. It's not important, Woody says and resumes his whittling, though he stares at her almost in defiance. Gina looks toward you once more. I'll lend a hand if you need one. Sure, and you get first dibs for asking. Radio button, checked, 1 of 6. You can come, but this may be risky. Radio button, unchecked, 2 of 6. Sorry, but I don't need your help, I say, not knowing if I can trust her. Radio button, unchecked. Thanks for the offer, but I got this. Why don't you just sit back and relax? Sorry, you can come, sure, and you get first dibs for asking. Gina looks toward you once more. It's not important, Woody says and Gina, sure, and you can come, but this may be risky. Radio button, unchecked, 2 of 6. Sure, and you get first dibs for asking. Radio button, checked, 1 of 6. You can come, but this may be risky. Radio button, unchecked, 2 of 6. Sorry, thanks for the offer. I prefer you stay here to help with tasks, I say, just to keep her at camp. Radio button, unchecked, next, button. Gina chuckles. You don't need to bribe me to go, I offered after all. Before you leave camp, you stop by the group's inventory to prepare. Primary weapon. Sledgehammer. Secondary weapon. Baseball bat.
I think it's time to put on my third weapon.
I reconsider my primary and secondary weapons. Radio button, checked, 1 of 2. I make no changes to my weapons. Next, button, unchecked. Fire axe, radio button, unchecked, 8 of 20. Crowbar, radio button, 38 special, radio button, you select a new main weapon. Show stats, but zombie exit a safe haven. You select a new main weapon. 38 special, radio button, checked, 1 of baseball bat, radio button, unchecked. Beretta M9 pistol, radio button, unchecked. Cleaver, radio button, unchecked. 4 of Colt Python revolver, radio button, unchecked. Crossbow, radio button, unchecked. Crowbar, radio button, unchecked. Fire axe, radio button, unchecked. Hammer, radio button, unchecked. 9 of 20. Katana, from Rachel's inventory, dimmed. Radio button, unchecked. Knife, radio button, unchecked. MP5 submachine gun, from Rachel's inventory, dimmed. Pepper spray, radio button, unchecked. Remington Model 700, bolt act, shovel, radio button, sledgehammer, radio button, unchecked. 16 of 20. Springfield M1903, bolt action rifle, radio button, tactical shotgun. Trench knife, from bare hands, radio, next, button. Hammer, radio button, Colt, cleaver. Beretta M9 baseball bat, 38 you select a new show stats, button, you select a new main weapon. 38 special, radio button, checked, 1 of 20. Baseball bat, radio button, unchecked, 2 of 20. 38, baseball bat, radio button, unchecked, 2 of 20. Beretta M9 pistol, cleaver, radio button, Colt Python revolver, crossbow, crossbow. Crowbar, radio button, crowbar. Fire axe, hammer, radio button, katana, from Rachel, knife, radio, MP5 submachine gun, pepper spray, radio button, Remington Model 700, bolt action, shovel, radio button, sledgehammer, spring, tactical, trench knife, bare hands, next, button, and a backup weapon. Cleaver, radio, Colt Python revolver, crossbow, crowbar, fire axe, hammer, katana, knife, MP5 sub, pepper spray, Remington Model 7, shovel, radio, sledgehammer, Springfield M9, tactical shotgun, trench knife, bare hands, next, button. Eventually, your preparations are done, and you're standing at the edge of the hilltop. Jamie steps up. Brody follows close. I am not driving. Madison says, here, toss me. Gina smiles, her arms folded over her chest. I can drive if you want. I'm good with whatever. You don't know much about the ability of either twin to drive, but if age is a measure of experience, neither can be too great at it. On the other hand, you may have heard Gina mention she's a fairly adept driver. I'm driving. Radio button, checked, 1 of 4. I let Brody drive. Radio button, unchecked, 2 of 4. Madison is going to drive. Radio button, unchecked. I prefer for Gina to drive. Radio button, unchecked. Next, button. I prefer for Gina to drive. Radio button, unchecked. 4 of 4. Checked. Next, button. Gina, you toss Gina the keys. Let's get going. Everyone keep your eyes open for trouble. We have no idea how bad things are getting out there. Gina nods and unlocks the driver's side door. You got it. Madison positions herself in the cargo hold in the SUV, facing behind, head resting on the back of the front seat. Brody sits all the way in the back, leaning against the side window. Setting off on the road, you try to keep an open mind about traveling far from camp. While it may be uneventful, your gut has you a bit worried as you pull away from the hill. The quiet in the area grows even more oppressive since your vehicle is the only thing creating noise of any appreciable level. When you turn onto a dirt road, the vehicle's tires crunch gravel underneath, and everyone perks up at the sound, on high alert. As you cross the first quarter mile, you catch glimpses of freshly plowed fields, corn about a foot high. It will be at least a month before it ripens for picking, assuming they don't die out from lack of moisture. Foot-long ditches border the road on each side, all filled with tumbleweeds and dead grass so thick you can't see the bottom. Gina hums quietly to herself. As she scans the highway, she exhales softly. It's nice to get off the hilltop. You toss Gina the keys. Zombie exit a safe show stats. Button. Show stat. Zombie exit a safe haven. Back button. Stats. Head. Achievements. Button. Chapter. 6. Date. Monday. Post-apocalypse day. 8:15 p.m. Profile. Name. Game King. Gender. Male. Profession / background. Preferred skill 1. Hand-to-hand combat. Preferred skill 2. Athletics. Skill points. 0. Hair color. Bald. Eye color. Brown. Race / ethnicity. Black or African. Distinguishing features. None. Zombie kills. 50. Safe haven. Current safe haven. Hilltop. Location. Somewhere along I-70. Colorado. Camp defense. 2. Group defense. 0. Offensive capabilities. 0. Primary weapon. :38 special. Primary weapon. :38 special. :38 special. Secondary weapon. :baseball bat. Armor. :non. :non. Helmet. :non. Clothes. :hiking clothes. Primary vehicle. :unspecified. Money in bank. 2000 money. 70 challenges and perks. Claustrophobic. Health. Physical health 99. Mental health 99%. Fatigue 7%. Stress 12%. Personality and morality. Humanity 52%. Morality 55%. Impulsive 36%. Calculated 64%. Straightforward 45%. Manipulative 55%. Honorable 47%. Pragmatic 53%. Idealistic 56%. Cynical 44%. Group stats. Group name, The Templars. Leader, Game. Group cook, Riley. Quartermaster, Kelly. Allegiance, 24%. Morale, 62%. Diplomacy, 58%. Ruthless, 50%. Altruistic, 50%. Group food, 723. Group water, 424. Attributes. Strength, 70%. Dexterity, 75%. Agility, 70%. Stamina, 75%. Charisma, 35%. Intelligence, 40%. Willpower, 45%. Perception, 50%. Character reference, radio button, checked, 1 of 7. Perception, 50%. Character reference, radio button, checked, 1 of 7. Crafting reference, radio button, unchecked, 2 of 7. Character reference, radio button, checked, 1 of 7. Crafting reference, radio button, unchecked. Character relationships, radio button, unchecked, 3 of 7. Inventory, radio button, unchecked, 4 of 7. Character inventory, radio button, unchecked, 4 of 7. Skills, radio button, unchecked, 5 of 7. Inventory, radio button, unchecked, 4 of 7. Skills, skill, weapon reference, radio button, unchecked, 7 of 7. Skill weapon reference, radio button, unchecked. Next, button. Weapon skill skills, radio, inventory, radio button, skills, radio, skill reference, radio, skill, inventory, character relationships, skill reference, radio, weapon reference, radio button, unchecked. Next, button. Next, button. Characters reference. Characters reference. Bailey, a college student and member of Rachel's group. Description, long brown hair, pale skin, dark blue eyes, short nose, and thin lips. Benjamin, a doctor and member of Rachel's group. Description, British accent, tall, tribal tattoos over his arms, and a nasty scar along his left cheek. Brody, a student of Chipper Ridge High School you met while saving Jamie, twin brother to Madison. They are Milfords, the richest family in Nightfall. Description, short blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, highly athletic build, well-defined muscles, taller than average. Driver, one of the bandits who you encountered when you went to save Jamie at Chipper Ridge High School. Description, rugged, strong, and bulky, scarred back. Gina, met on the highway outside the city during the Horde battle. Description, light, almost white, very short hair, striking facial features, lithe and well-muscled body. George, chased by zombies outside your home. Description, wildly tousled brown hair and a shaggy beard with thick-rimmed glasses, frumpy body. Jamie, a close friend. Description, 6'10" and 400 pounds. Kelly, reporter for the TV news, first met on the day of the outbreak, outside the Makarov's house, at the head of the mob. Description, pale skin, Wi-Fi build, long, jet black, straight hair, fully tattooed arms. Madison, a student of Chipper Ridge High School you met while saving Jamie, twin sister to Brody. They are Milfords, the richest family in Nightfall. Description, golden blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin, thin but curvy and average height. Nathan, a member of Rachel's group. Description, tall and lean, scruffy beard, strong jaw, brown eyes, wears expensive dress pants and a tailored shirt. Nora, mother of Riley. They showed up on day 2 post-outbreak outside of your burning house. Description, woman in her 60s, gray hair, blue eyes, frail, uses a cane. Parker, your neighbor, a museum curator, scientist, and teacher. Description, of Korean descent, short spiky hair, stocky build. Rachel, cousin of Vince, your neighbor from your home in Nightfall. Description, has a slight British accent, stands tall and lithe, light brown hair falls just above her shoulders, appearing sharply cut at the ends. Riley, a man who you first met outside your burning house, who's now a member of your group. Description, slight Irish accent, thin and toned build, hair chestnut brown, long, and swept back. Reverend Church, he had a car accident outside your home on day 1 post-outbreak. Description, short, dark-skinned man in a pinstripe suit and pastel pink shirt. Rosie, one of the bandits who you encountered when you went to save Jamie at Chipper Ridge High School. Description, long, red hair, jagged like it's been hacked with a knife, average body, multiple scars on fair skin. Tommy, a college student and your neighbor encountered outside of the Makarov's house on the day of the outbreak. He joined your group on day 2 post-outbreak. Description, strong, athletic build, striking, almost mature facial features. Woody, Moses, Jaime's cousin, he showed up at your house on day 2 post-outbreak. Description, shaggy and unkempt hair, wears a bushy, untrimmed beard, and generally muted, work clothes. Profile, radio button, checked, 1 of 7, crafting reference, profile, radio button, checked, 1 of 7. Crafting reference, radio button, unchecked, 2 of 7. Checked. Character, inventory, skills, skill reference, weapon reference, next, button, arrow, crafting reference. Below are common recipes for improvised items crafting reference. Below are common recipes for improvised items craftable in the zombie apocalypse, including the minimum skill rank and components needed to make them. Ammunition. All recipes make 1 full load of ammo. .308 Winchester, crafting 65, gunpowder, 2 metal parts, crafting tools, not consumed. 357 Magnum, crafting 60, gunpowder, 2 metal parts, crafting tools, not consumed. Period. 3. .38 Caliber, crafting 55, gunpowder, 1 metal part, crafting tools, not consumed. .45 Caliber, crafting 55, gunpowder, 1 metal part, crafting tools, not consumed. 30, 06 Springfield, crafting 65, gunpowder, 1 metal part, crafting tools, not consumed. 30, Winchester, crafting 65, gunpowder, 2 metal parts, crafting tools, not consumed. 5.56 ammo, crafting 70, gunpowder, 3 metal parts, crafting tools, not consumed. 7.62 millimeters ammo, crafting 70, gunpowder, 3 metal parts, crafting tools, not consumed. 9 millimeters ammo, crafting 50, gunpowder, 1 metal part, crafting tools, not consumed. Arrows, crafting 55 or survival 50, 1 metal part, 2 wooden parts, crafting tools, not consumed, or a knife, not consumed. Crossbow bolts, crafting 60 or survival 55, 1 metal part, 2 wooden parts, crafting tools, not consumed, or a knife, not consumed. Shotgun shells, crafting 60, gunpowder, 2 metal parts, crafting tools, not consumed. Animal trap. Small, survival 50, 3 metal parts, capable of catching rabbits, rodents, and other small game. Medium, survival 60, 5 metal parts, capable of catching boars, small deer, and antelopes. Large, bear trap, survival, medium, small, animal trap, shotgun shells, crafting 6, animal trap. Small, survival 50, 3 metal parts, capable of catching rabbits, rodents, and other small game. Small, survival 50, 3 metal parts, capable of catching rabbit, medium, large, bear trap, explosives. Explosive charge, crafting 80 and science 70, 1 gasoline can, 3 flares, 4 metal parts, 4 mechanical parts, 2 gunpowders, requires crafting tools, not consumed. Grenade, crafting 70 and science 60, 1 gunpowder, 2 metal parts, 1 mechanical part, requires crafting tools, not consumed. Molotov cocktails, crafting 50 or science 50, 1 bandage, 1 bottle of alcohol. Poison gas bomb, science 65, 1 bleach, 1 liquid cleaner. Medical items. Requires crafting tools, not consumed. Antiseptic ointment, medicine 70, science 70, botany book, not consumed, 5 biological parts, provides 5 applications. Painkillers, medicine 70, science 70, botany book, not consumed, 6 biological parts, provides 5 pills. Splint, medicine 50 or survival 50, 1 rope or sewing kit, not consumed, or 1 duct tape and 2 wooden parts. Melee weapons. All weapons require crafting tools, not consumed. Barbed wire wrap baseball bat, crafting 50, barbed wire, baseball bat. Baseball bat, crafting 50, 3 wooden parts. Barbed wire wrap baseball bat, crafting 50, barbed wire, baseball bat. Baseball bat, crafting 50, 3 wooden parts. Cavalry sword, crafting 70, 8 metal parts. Crowbar, crafting 70, 6 metal parts. Fire axe, crafting 65, 2 metal parts, 2 wooden parts. Hammer, crafting 50, 1 metal parts, 1 wooden parts. Hatchet, crafting 55, 2 metal parts, 1 wooden parts. Knife, crafting 45, 1 metal part. Machete, crafting 60, 5 metal parts. Sledgehammer, crafting 60, 3 metal parts, 3 wooden parts. Miscellaneous. Barbed wire, crafting 50, miscellaneous. Barbed wire, crafting 50, 2 metal parts, 2 wooden parts, crafting tools, not consumed. Binoculars, crafting 60 and electronic 60, a pair of glasses, 2 metal parts, 1 mechanical parts, mechanical tools, not consumed. Campfire, survival 50, 3 wooden parts. Cyanide powder, cooking 60 or science 60, cookware, not consumed. 1 food item, 1 liquid cleaner. Ghillie suit, crafting 60 and survival 50, 3 wooden parts, 1 tart, 1 sewing kit, not consumed. Heavy battery, science 60 and electronic 60, 1 water, 4 packs of batteries, 4 electrical parts, mechanical tools, not consumed. Improved fishing pole, survival 50, 1 folding fishing pole, 1 metal part, 1 sewing kit, not consumed. Ranged weapon scope, crafting 60, 1 pair of glasses, 2 mechanical parts, crafting tools, not consumed. Ranged weapon suppressors, crafting 60, 2 metal parts, 1 mechanical part, crafting tools, not consumed. Recurve bow, survival 65 or crafting 55, 3 wooden parts, crafting tools or a knife, not consumed. Solar power generator, crafting 65 and electronic 65, 1 duct tape, 1 portable generator, 1 solar panel, 4 metal parts, crafting tools, not consumed. Tent, survival 60, 4 wooden parts or 4 metal parts, 1 rope, 1 duct tape, 1 tart. Thermal goggles, crafting 70 and electronic 70, a pair of glasses, 2 mechanical parts, 2 electrical parts, 2 metal parts, 1 set of batteries, mechanical tools, not consumed. Water collector, crafting 60 or science 60, 1 tart, 2 metal parts, 2 wooden parts, crafting tools, not consumed. Ranged accessories and parts. All require crafting tools, not consumed. Acid scope, crafting 60 and science 70, 2 electronic parts, 2 mechanical parts, 1 metal part, a pair of glasses. Forged metal part, crafting 60, 3 metal parts. Requires a heating sword, lower receiver, crafting 60, 3 forged metal parts. Ranged weapon scope, crafting 60 and science 60, 2 metal parts, 2 mechanical parts. Ranged weapon suppressor, crafting 60, 1 mechanical part, 2 metal parts. Ranged weapons. All weapons require crafting tools, not consumed. .357 Colt Python handgun. 38 special revolver, crafting. .45 M1911 pistol, craft. 9mm Beretta M9 pistol, 9mm Glock 19 pistol, AR-15 rifle, 5 point crossbow, crafting 65 or survive. Marlin Model 336 lever action rifle, 30. Remington Model 870, pump, sawed-off shotgun, crafting. Springfield M1903, bolt, profile, radio button, check, 1 of 7. Character reference, radio button, character relationships, radio button, inventory, radio button, unchecked, 4 of 7. Check. Inventory, radio button, skills, radio, skill reference, weapon reference, next, button. Checked. .357 Colt Python, inventory and gear. Inventory. .357 Colt Python revolvers, 1. 38 special revolvers, 1. Baseball bats, 1. Beretta M9 pistols, 1. Cleavers, 1. Crossbows, 1. Crowbars, 1. Fire axes, 1. Hammers, 1. Knives, 2. Pepper spray, 1. Sledgehammers, 1. Springfield M1903s, 1. Gear. Colon backpacks, 2. Binoculars, 2. Blankets, 2. Canteens, 1. Compasses, 1. Crafting tools, 2. Fire starter kits, 1. First aid kit, 1 kit with 5 total charges. Flashlights, 2. Folding fishing poles, 1. GPS, 1. Handcuffs, 2. Laptops, 1. Mechanics tools, 1. Night vision goggles, 1. Rope and grappling hook, 2. Shovels, 1. Shortwave radios, 1. Smartphones, 1. Water purifying tablets, 1. Consumables. Colon antibiotics, 2. Alcohol, 5. Batteries, 1. Biological parts, 15. Metal parts, 4. Painkillers, 10. Shampoo, 3. Soap, 3. Sunscreen, 1. Toothpaste, 1. Wooden parts, 2. Special inventory. Colon you carry no special items. Portions of food. Colon, 0. Bottles of water. Colon, 0. Primary weapon. Colon 38 special. Secondary weapon. Colon baseball bat. Armor. Colon non. Armor. Colon secondary weapon. Colon armor. Colon non. Helmet. Colon non. Primary vehicle. Colon unspecified. Profile. Character reference. Radio. Crafting reference. Radio button. Character relationships. Radio button. Unchecked. 4. Skills. Radio button. Unchecked. 5 of 7. Checked. Next. Button. Profession / background. Skill percentages. Colon mixed martial artist. Profession / background. Colon mixed martial artist. Skill percentages. If a skill is modified by gear or your profession / background, the natural value is shown in parentheses, while the modified value is shown in the bar and listed as a percentage. Athletics, 100, 100%. Close combat weapons, 85, 85%. Cooking, 39, 39%. Crafting, 48, 48%. Driving, 39, 39%. Electronics, 29, 29%. Empathy, 34, 34%. Hand-to-hand combat, 100, 100%. Intimidation, 50, 60%. Leadership, 39, 44%. Medicine, 30, 30%. Persuasion, 28, 28%. Ranged weapons, 41, 41%. Scavenging, 85, 85%. Science, 20, 20%. Search, 43, 43%. Stealth, 50, 50%. Survival, 60, 65%. Skill levels. Athletics, 7. Master. Close combat weapons, 5. Superior. Cooking, 1. Basic. Crafting, 2. Beginner. Driving, 1. Basic. Empathy, 1. Basic. Hand-to-hand combat, 7. Master. Intimidation, 3. Adept. Leadership, 2. Beginner. Medicine, 1. Basic. Persuasion, 1. Basic. Ranged weapons, 1. Basic. Scavenging, 5. Superior. Search, 2. Beginner. Stealth, 2. Beginner. Survival, 3. Adept. Profile. Radio button. Check. 1 of 7.
Well, I have a lot of things to learn. But I think that's going to be it for us. Thank you for hanging out with me. Appreciate you. We'll come back again for more zombie apocalypse safe haven, and we'll find out what happens at that new place we saw. Hopefully Rachel's right, but I'm also hoping she's not right. If we run into some trouble, we'll definitely be ready. But maybe I should have kept Thumper with me. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it for us today. Thank you for joining us on Zombie Apocalypse Safe Haven. And keep safe out there, folks. I'll see you soon.